a guy a guy on a job today that I barely know, but I know a little bit. And we know a lot of the same guys, or a few of the same guys, but a lot of the same guys. Anyway, he's he does masonry and earthworks. I don't think he does. It's funny, some guys who do landscaping do earthworks, and some guys who do masonry do earthworks. But I can't think of anybody who does masonry and earthworks and landscaping. That's like a weird overlap, a Venn diagram, a Vesica Pisces, an overlap of conjoining talents. But then there are also singular companies who only do earthworks, and singular companies who only do masonry, and singular companies who only do landscaping. And then it just fans out from there. But anyway, I've been on this job that's been taking forever. It has strange details. It has strange, fussy details. So I was on the property last fall. I was working in the stairwell last fall when he was outside the window, pounding the dirt and laying the stone on the monumental patio. With saws and shovels and rakes and the guy has like 5 different tractors he uses to haul these stones everywhere. A lot of different saws, a lot of different diamond blades. He's humble as they come, and he makes a lot of noise. But only because he has to. Because that's the way we do these jobs these days. Yeah, of course, back in the olden days, you'd hear a lot of tink, a tink, a tink, a tink, a tink, tink, a tink, a tink. A lot of chisels and hammers. Not so many chisels and hammers these days. People use tractors and diamond saws for efficiency, but in some sense, we've lost someone who's been using a chisel and a hammer for 40 years. They can do 10 times more than a 25-year-old with a diamond blade. I forget the type of saw they call it, cut saw. You know, if you got a diamond blade cut saw, whether it's hooked up to some some cut saws you can screw a water hose into so that the water can flow over the diamond blade as you're cutting into the rock. Or there's other types of setups that do more or less the same thing, like tile guys. They usually have some kind of water running over their blade as they cut tile. Same idea. Isn't it amazing that they have saws that can cut through wood, cut through oak, but if your finger touches the blade stops instantaneously and doesn't cut your finger. That's actually more amazing than Elon's rocket catch. Like the Starship gantry rocket booster catch is actually less impressive than a saw spinning at however many RPM, that if it can cut a piece of wood, no problem, it'll keep going. But if your finger touches it, it stops. Dead to rights. Dead. And doesn't cut your finger. Now, you might think when I'm saying that, like, a saw is more impressive than what Elon did. That's not what I'm saying. Launching a skyscraper up into the air, up into orbit, not suborbit, orbit, and then bringing it back down a skyscraper, and then catching it with another skyscraper from free fall, from faster than free fall. Yeah. But then that comes into the concept of precision. But in some sense, it's the same problem. The fact that a saw I can buy at Home Depot can cut a piece of pine, can cut a piece of poplar, can cut a piece of oak, can cut a piece of maple, can cut a piece of cedar, right? Can cut a piece of cementitious board, can cut a piece of masonite, can cut a piece of plywood. But if my finger touches it for 1 fucking second, the whole thing shuts down and I don't get a cut on my finger. Yeah, I've never done any research on it. It just popped into my mind, like, at this moment when I press record. So, I guess that's something I'll have to, like, I've never thought of it before, and then it just came out of my mouth. I was thinking about something else. I'm kind of circling around it. The thing I was thinking about before, but then this just came up. But yeah. That table saw. Now, not all table saws are like that. So, like, if you see a table saw, don't put your yeah. This is not financial advice. This is not table saw advice. I'm just saying the ones they make these days. It's like you put your finger on it and the fucking thing stops like instantaneously. If it moved this far after you put your finger on it, you'd be gushing blood everywhere. That's that is super precise, man. But now people just expect, including me. I'm trying to remind myself of how entitled I am, which I hate. Also, which I love. It's a benefit I abuse daily. I take for granted everything. Yet God, you know, the the biggest thing that makes me doubt God is like, you're keeping me alive? You know, me? Like, I can think of at least 3 better people. Okay, 30, 300, 3,000, 3,000,000, whatever, but like, you're keeping me alive? Okay, I'll just whack off then. Fine. I don't know what else to do. Sometimes. I'm still here, I still care, and I am still wrong. Fuck! That's not my prayer. That's not my assertment. That's my staring into the mirror of my prayer. My prayer every day. May I be of service to you, Lord, good Lord, and good Mother, Mary. Mary, your child. Mary, your husband. Mary, your consort. Mary, your equal. Mary, your father, etc. Mary, it is so easy to come to you. Mary, dear Mother Mary, I've come to you over and over again, Mary. I've come to you. You've accepted me every single time. Dear sweet Mother Mary, the first thing God, some say the Son of God, some say God, some say both. The first thing Christ saw when Christ was born into the world, into time, was your face, Mary. And Mary, the first thing, the last thing that Christ saw on Christ's way out of the world was your face, Mary. When Christ came into the world, the first thing Christ heard was your crying. Christ left this world, the last thing he heard was the voice of Mary crying. Even if it's not true, you kinda can't beat that story. Like, but all I wanted to do today was practice sound and noises. Ugly, humble, but I'm not humble. It's so crazy, like I'm a wicked huge failure. Even though you can see it on my many videos I've made, my little time capsule diary entries, like even though you can see it, you don't know the half of it. The only reason I'm not even though I'm making this for like the way future, the way future, like after I'm dead, like also I'm kind of protecting myself a little bit because of, you know, if the people now come up on me, they'll crush me before I ever have a chance to bloom. Like, I'm growing up in the limelight. I'm growing up in the shadows, but not like the shadow. Like, I'm not growing up in the dark. I'm not growing up in the valley. I'm growing at the edge between the forest and the field. And that's the right place for me. I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm afraid of being burnt of the sun, and maybe the sun will make me grow up beyond my wildest dreams. But it's kind of like, well, like racism. Like, here's my version of racism. Um, so far as I can tell, I think it's accurate that like the whiter you are, the more you benefit from like diffused sunlight, and the darker you are, the more you benefit from like more direct sunlight. So like it's just kind of a fact of how we all got here. Like, we can't blame how we all got here, but here we are, you know? And there's different analogies from like short to tall, right? But if you lined up every person short to tall, like the color spectrum would kind of bounce all over the place because there's no, I mean, there are different, but you know what I mean? Like the colors would bobble this way, that way. There'd be this like jazz of like colors if you lined every person up in the world from shortest to tallest. But also if you lined up every person in the world from lightest to darkest. And not only that, like there's also the color spectrum of the way people look, because whether you're white, which is like pink or orange or tan, or you know, or if you're black, which is kind of like maroon or deep purple, or like, you know, So hard to stuff people into race. But yeah, if you had like a balanced view of racism, it's just it does seem like the darker your skin is, the more sun you need, and the lighter your skin is, the less sun you need. So like my idea of like a quote unquote diverse uh like an equitable an equitable diverse population would be one where at least we can concede that outdoors, this is an interesting way of thinking about it. Because there's short people and tall people. But when we're talking about outdoors, like around here where I live, there's a lot of wide open spaces with a lot of sun. Depending on how cloudy the sky is, but like on a more or less clear day or on like a Mario Brothers Super Mario Brothers cloudy day where it's like mostly blue but like a few clouds floating here or there. Say in the afternoon, say 3 in the afternoon or say 9 in the morning. Say you're taking a walk with your friends and say you're not the same color. From a scientific point of view, I'm just saying, and I'm just saying on average, like, is this a terrible thing to say? But like, okay, let's say it like this. Like an Irish dude is having a walk with a blue black dude. And it's 75 degrees and it's 2:30 in the afternoon. And these dudes are taking a walk on a sidewalk that just so happens to have a row of trees situated in such a way that half of the sidewalk is illuminated by the light of the 2:30 sun p.m. and half of the walkway is illuminated by, well, or rather I should say half of the walkway is in the shadow of the line of trees that correspond to the walkway. But there's still light, of course, because of the quote unquote ambient light. But there's a distinction. And if both people need to be leveled up on vitamin D, who stands where? And the same thing and the same thing can be said in the winter as in the summer if you had to take averages. You really can't take averages, but yet I don't know. It's something interesting to think about. I'm not even saying I'm right about it, but it's a way of thinking about it. In the same way that, in the same way that maybe someone who is more pale can better suffer the shadows for a little while, just a little while longer. You know, the pale people can bear the heat, and the light, and the dark people can bear the shadow and the cold. But perhaps in one small little physical sense, like each are a little bit better one way or the other. Now you might be saying I'm actually making a racial thing, but I'm not. I'm trying to dive in. I'm trying to disrupt the discussion. So here we are, and you're already taking sides. No, no, no. I just hit the surface. Because if you take DNA tests of different people of different colors, if you're just looking at colors of people, like if you take a random sample, say of 300 people, a random sample of the United States, a random sample of the world of 300 people, if you, I don't care how you categorize categorize their color, so long as that categorization incorporates value. So long as you do that, I don't care how you do it. And when you do it, there will be different colors that are more genetically related than other colors. There'll be two people in that 300 population who look very much alike on the surface. And they will be very far apart genetically, and they will match with two other people genetically, and all of a sudden you have these four people, and it's like, what? I thought these two people were totally alike, and they're not. Because the things on the surface tell one story, and the things beneath the surface tell another story. But both. See, that's the thing. We're always fighting like surface substance. It's substance. No, it's surface. But there's a multitude of substances and a multitude of surfaces and a multitude of reasons why different things kind of look alike. But when you put all of those things together, it just creates this strangeness. And we're so accustomed with our little 10 fingers of thinking in tens, you know. But you don't have to get too much above like 2 to the 2 to the 2. Like it, as soon as you go from 2 to the 2 to the 2, your mind's already out there in the universe. You're way into 3. You're way into 5. You know, 11's coming down the road. 12, 13's gonna knock your fucking brains out. It's over. You know. All I wanted to do was sing a nice song. It took me, goddamn, a half hour to get there, but that's fine. Pretty bad. What I didn't say about the stone guy was when I saw him, I said something like, "How's your winter?" I said, "You're back. How was your winter?" He said he worked a month and a half with some carpenters who used to work for the company, the subcontractor we're both working for or working with, depending on how you look at it. And he said he also installed a island, like a kitchen island. With his employee. He's got a ton of equipment and he's working on some seriously high dollar projects. Everything lately I work on is like people spending hand over fist, man. It's bonkers. You wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe. You wouldn't believe what it has cost for me over the last year to paint a stairway and an office. Mostly. The project is bigger than that, but mostly. It's been almost a year. I mean, not solid, but like I've been there and I've been there and I've been there and I've been there. It's a crime what they're paying me. I mean, I still don't have health insurance. But it's still a crime what they're paying me. It's ridiculous. But what I'm getting paid is peanuts compared to what everybody else is getting paid. The Finnish carpenters on this job, they're amazing. They've spent 2 months building this wine room that is unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I've seen them build it every step of the way. And I've been working with these guys for 20 years. It's just unbelievable what they're able to build. And it makes me sad because the whole project is bullshit. The whole project is bullshit. And yeah, it won't be very long. That it's got to be $120,000 wine room. Okay, maybe not that much. Actually, it's gonna be. Yeah. It's this like little well, it's rectangular, but I mean, it's within the scope of a 12 by 12 wine room. It's going to be $100,000 wine room. Oh, but it's in an Ivy League town, so its value will appreciate. No, it won't. The bones are bad. The whole place is gonna rot into the fucking earth. It's gonna be torn down. It's gonna be condemned. 350 years from now, moss will rule it. It will be done. It will be over. It will be toxic, deadly. It will be a sore, a wart on the earth. And it will have cost millions and millions of dollars to build on a property worth millions and millions of dollars. And it's all just gonna fucking turn into a big cesspool. Or at least that's one way of thinking about it. I don't know. I've seen enough building, I've seen enough construction to know when something's bullshit. Yeah, this place is bullshit. The flies have already begun infesting. We're not even done yet. The stink bugs, or the ultra stink bugs, well, there's the stink bug, the common stink bug, very usually friendly creatures. Sometimes they'll bite you. If you do, I recommend you crush them. If they don't, I recommend you let them live. That's evolution, baby. But the what look like swarming ladybugs, that when you kill them, they stink, though they look like ladybugs. They aren't ladybugs. They seem to come around late summer. They swarm late summer. Bastards. Fuckers. Yeah, they're already on this property, so it's already over. The house is already dead. It's like a baby born with syphilis. The brain rot's coming. There may be a rare exception, and we ourselves, born with this syphilis, pray that we are that rare exception. Why wouldn't we? We should. But when your house is overridden with black flies and fake ladybugs, the fake stinky ladybugs, the house is dead. And for the most part should be burnt to the ground. So to speak, not for real. Don't really burn a house to the ground. Should be taken apart, taken apart. It's over. The chemistry experiment failed. Or at least that's one way of looking at it. That's one side. I see the other sides. I don't need to argue them. You are already arguing them for me. But this is one way of looking at it. Because building perfectly means building perfectly in a dynamic world. We're on a gerbil wheel that's on a gerbil wheel that's on a gerbil wheel that's on a gerbil wheel. Like, which one do we fucking fix? All the wheels are spinning. The motor's always turning. Everything's always going. There are ebbs and flows. There are cycles. There are beats. There's all kinds of things. But, like, what do you fix? What do you fix? Do I fast? Do I feast? You can be fat and die from starvation. And you can be anorexic and die from overeating. What am I? Body dysmorphia, gender dysmorphia. Same. What the fuck am I?